Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I had a little something different planned today, but you know, the way the mail works, got a little something early. This is Transformers Authentics. Arcee. Now this is, I believe, called the Bravo class or something. They used to tell you, like, on the packaging, the little size classes, but this is the smaller version. It is smaller than Deluxe, a little bit bigger than Core Class, not by much. I got this figure off of eBay, but you can find this figure usually in Market 6 stores or other discount outlets. Like with the rest of the Authentics line, these are cheaper alternatives to core Transformer characters. Although lately they've been expanding a little, and they've even been including accessories like weapons, which Arcee does include. Now, before we continue, if you haven't already, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. That always will help the algorithms. And if you really want to help, check out the hyperlink in the description or the card here in the corner for my Patreon. It's $1 a month or $12 a year. But as I always say, no pressure, no hard selling. If you can't do it, your views are more than thanks enough. Now we're starting off with Arcee in vehicle mode, and this is a very nice representation of the vehicle mode that we know Arcee to have. It's not exactly G1, and it's not exactly a modern styling. As you can tell, the handgun is being used as the tail, which I think is brilliant, because a lot of times that little fin will get omitted, or there's extra transformation steps required just to fold it away. And I think why no one ever thought to use it as the weapon as the fin before, it's perfect. Now I do want to mention a few things right off the bat. Again, this is the Authentics line. This is a cheaper figure. That means the plastic is not as great, tolerances are not as great, pegs are not as long, slots are not as deep to hold everything together, and the instructions are not as clear as they should be. I'll get into that more once we get into the transformation, which we're going to do right now. I mean, there are wheels here, and you might think she's a shell former, and in some regards, yes, but there's a lot of transforming here going on. So to start things off, let's just go ahead and pop out that really cool looking handgun. It is of a softer plastic, so just be careful of it, but man, that looks like Arcee's classic handgun. I would love to see a 1-to-1 scale role play Nerf blaster that looks like that. I would buy it in the white and pink, which, because I mean, you can't do it in black or gray. That would be really cool. To start things off, as soon as you come in here, you're gonna, the front end here is supposed to peg in to some tabs right there. Kind of sort of does that, and I'll explain in a minute as we separate the legs and bring them out and down. Now we're going to stop here because this is the first part. These legs telescope, and getting them out is a lot easier than getting them in. Pushing them up and in is going to feel like you're going to break something. There's no natural stoppage. There's no, little, hey, you're fine. Basically, the way you know the legs are telescoped up enough is when they can sort of rest on those tabs. Again, holes aren't deep enough, tabs aren't long enough. And let me tell you, getting that into vehicle mode, that's the trickiest part. So rotate these around so the legs, there are little grooves here that the front end will fit into those posts. She does not have any knees, and to get it to stand, you're going to have to basically do that heroic pose thing. Let me bring the camera just back a little so we can get more of the transformation going. But that's the lower half. Next, what you want to do is come in here, and we're going to unpeg the arms from here and bring out these panels. Now, initially, I was having some trouble with these panels. And you're going to flip the arms down so the panels now face upward. And what I wasn't initially getting is that these are on double hinges. So when you fold them up, you want to make sure they're folded up on both hinges. But when you fold them out, make sure you have them folded out all the way on both hinges. If you're having a problem with these side panels pegging in underneath the side, the waist, the lower back waist here, make sure you have them folded out all the way in the hinges. Once you have the arms pegged in here, if you have these panels folded out properly, they should just automatically, for the most part, sit in, or with the slightest adjustment, you should have them lined up perfectly like that. So, but bring them out. Oop, that arm pops off. Bring it down. Fold it around. But that arm likes to pop off. Again, it's all ball joints. So bring it down. Bring it down out of the way. And then what you want to do is fold the arms down. Basically, there's a ball joint in this section of the shoulder, and then there's a little hinge right there. So when you have it down, swing the hinge forward, rotate it at the joint so the hinge faces forward, and then to finish things off, unhook the back of the car from underneath the seats there, bring this down, and that will snap into place somewhere. And just like that, you have Arcee in its robot mode. You have a nice, somewhat expressive ball joint here at the head. You have ball joints in the shoulders. You have a ball joint in that inner elbow for some inner movement. But basically you have a 90-degree hinge right there. Ball joint at the hips. You do have ball joints at the knees, but again, as you can see, there's no real cutout for a knee joint. Why, I don't know, but there's that, and there's no real feet. Now, the weapon can be held in either hand. I have noticed that because these hands are of a softer plastic, Arcee tends to hold it more naturally in the left hand, as opposed to the right hand. And yes, on certain surfaces, you'll have a hard time with her standing, but that's about it. Nice head. I mean, a little bit of a neutral expression, but you know, like most of these smaller Authentics figures, you're relying heavily on ball joints that get the job done, but will wear down over time. So with that being said, how about we pause and we come back with my final thoughts. A lot of mixed thoughts and feelings about Arcee. On one hand, the transformation is really cool. Unfortunately, it's hindered by the short tabs and shallow ports. Articulation is almost there. I think a cut for a knee joint in that ball cup would have really put this figure over the top. I mean, I was almost prepared to say that this was going to be the best Arcee figure I handle. Now, this is better than Earthrise because it actually transforms and uses more of the parts. But I still think the Cyberverse figure thus far is the best Arcee I've handled. Yes, it doesn't have that pure G1 silhouette that they even show you on the packaging, but for what it does, I think it's really cool. Now, to recommend this, I think if you've been going in for the line, you kind of owe it to yourself to pick up Arcee. Definitely pick up Wheeljack first. Yes, it's a different scale, but I think overall that's a better figure. It's not as fiddly to transform. I mean, I really, with that, when doing the legs, I struggle a lot with it. But I think it's overall better figure. But I think for the scale, Arcee works out pretty good. I actually wouldn't mind seeing this design upscaled to either that Alpha class, I think is the larger figures, or Bravo, but definitely to the Cyber Battalion line. The I think those Cyber series, and I think the Battalion are those Voyager class. I think with that, this would do really good. Definitely, I think we would have that knee joint. You would have a little thicker plastic. I think things would tab a lot better, and it would just be cool to have a large transforming Arcee figure. Well, I hope I helped you make a decision. I hope I helped you with the transformation. Let me tell you, if you're struggling with those legs, remember, push that knee joint, that bar up as far as you can go. Have a little patience to get those front ends to tap together. Deep breaths, and maybe don't do it on like a hot and humid day. So with that being said, this is your old pal Chuck for Arcee. We will see you next time.